Well, Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu has been described as the greatest Capetonian. Even though he wasn't born in the city, he was loved by residents from all walks of life there. He was Archbishop of the Anglican Church in Cape Town for a decade. Tutu was a firm favourite of not only Capetonians, but of the entire province. Our reporter Abra Barbie and video journalist Sitlem Kize are at St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town, where they will be getting updates on the city's memorial plans. A very good afternoon to you, Abra. Do you understand you're just outside the church there, which of course the Archbishop has a long history with. Let's talk about some of the reactions you've been getting today. Of course, being in Cape Town, where the Arch was much loved, obviously some sadness, but also remembering the Archbishop then today.
Flo, good afternoon to you as well. Before I go into the nostalgic look into the Arch's life here in Cape Town and his history with Cape Town, I do have with me the Mayor of Cape Town, Jordan Hill-Lewis, and he is going to be giving us an update on exactly what the city's plans are this week. Thank you so much for speaking to us. You said you have an announcement to make.
Just to let Cape Town and residents around the world know that tonight at 8 o'clock and every night thereafter this week until the official funeral, we will be lighting up Table Mountain and the City Hall in purple, the colour that was so synonymous with our beloved Arch, in memory and celebration of his life. And we hope that as that image of Cape Town's iconic Table Mountain covered in purple light goes around the world, that it is a reminder of his wonderful life and contribution, and it helps us to remember and celebrate that contribution. So that will happen from tonight.
Earlier on, you made a statement. You said that this was the greatest Capetonian. He wasn't even born in the Western Cape, but you called him the greatest Capetonian. Just unpack that a little bit. I know he was well loved by the residents of the mother city.
Well, just so much of his life and contribution to South Africa resonates with his residency here in Cape Town. Obviously, this is where his seat was as Archbishop. It's where all of his incredible political activism, so to speak, as part of the UDF started here in Mitchell's Plain. He was just so synonymous with this city and the great moral voice for truth through the darkest days of apartheid, mainly from his seat here in the Archdiocese. So, you know, it's difficult to think of a greater Capetonian. He just was a wonderful blessing to us all. We were very lucky that he chose Cape Town as his home all these many decades, and blessed by that.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Jordan Hill-Lewis, the Mayor of Cape Town. Yes, Flo, earlier on you were speaking about his history with the city. He was the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Cape Town at this cathedral for a decade, from 1986 to 1996. And I mean, it was from this very site, the day after Madiba died, that we came that we broadcast live, and it's just so ironic that we would be here again, because the two of them, of course, they had a very special relationship themselves. And this cathedral over here, its history is steeped in the anti-apartheid struggle. It's from this church, from this cathedral, which is also the oldest cathedral in southern Africa. It's from this cathedral that many anti-apartheid protests, marches, campaigns were launched, and it was the Archbishop Emeritus Tutu who spearheaded all of those campaigns. I spoke to a lady earlier on, a Capetonian. She was here to come and leave a message of condolence in the book. The book is right behind me. Many people have already been streaming in to come and leave their messages over here, and I asked her why did she decide to come out today, and her story was, she said to me that she and her husband, they were here the day of the Purple Rain protest march. They were here with their 18-month-old daughter. So I could sense the emotion, I could see the emotion in her eyes. And what she said was that she just hopes that the life that he lived, the message that he had, that South Africa would continue with that, just to honor his memory. Flo?
Yeah. Abra, you know, you can't talk about Archbishop Desmond Tutu without talking about his beloved wife, Leah. And I'm wondering at this point if, you know, we've heard anything at all from his wife. I mean, it's quite something. We watched them, you know, aging together, and and together throughout, even during the struggle against apartheid. And, obviously a very, very sad time. And of course, the family just mourning in the midst of it right now. But I wonder if there's anything that we've heard either from her or anyone representing her at this time. Are we getting any word from the family yet?
Details are being worked out by the family as
Not where I am right now. I know I have colleagues stationed, another SABC team is stationed at his residence, so they will be updating us on anything from the family. This morning when I got the news, when I first started getting phone calls from our editors and when I started getting messages, I started thinking back to the various stories that I covered where he and Mam Leah were always together. And I can remember, in the last few years, he wasn't really available to speak to us as the public. He tried to take a step back, unsuccessfully largely, because we always tried to get him to speak to us. And at one event I was at, I think it was the day of his wife's birthday, we were told, please don't bombard him with any questions, please, he's tired, he just needs to rest, he's just here for the official event. And I was very sneaky. I went over to him and I said, listen, I don't want any political statement from you, I don't want any, all I want to know is, do you have a message to share with South Africa for your wife today on her birthday? And he broke out into song and he sang happy birthday to her, and it was the sweetest thing. And that basically just embodies the kind of relationship they had. They loved each other. And this morning we heard one of the speakers also say that yes, while he was a short gentleman, a short man, and his wife towered over him, she always reminded people that despite his physical size, he had the heart of a lion. So today must be a very sad day for Mam Leah as well, and of course our thoughts and our prayers go out to her and to the rest of the family.
All right, well, Abra, let's then, you were talking about the fact that we do have other reporters stationed elsewhere, and in fact we do have Mariska, who's just outside the home then of the Arch, and certainly hopefully we might be able to get some kind of reaction then from the family if possible. Mariska, at this point, let's talk about what's going on outside there. What's going on outside? It seems quite quiet at this stage, and I remember we had a similar conversation during the time that former President F.W. de Klerk had passed away. Talk to us about what you've been seeing throughout the day. Talk us through what's happening, and if possible, if there's anything that's been said or any word that's come from the family. We just heard an announcement now, in fact, that Table Mountain will be lit up in purple from tonight at 8 p.m. up until the funeral. I'm wondering if there's anything else that will be taking place in remembrance of the Arch.
Well, just on that note, Flo, as you were talking there about the purple, recently we did packages on the Arch. It was his birthday and he was vaccinated as one of the elders, leading by example once again, getting his COVID-19 vaccination. And the SABC have some wonderful archive of Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And one of those sound bites, he was all about making a little joke, was when he retired officially as Archbishop of the Anglican Church in Cape Town. And he told the story where children were shown pictures of public figures, and they were shown pictures of Madiba, and they immediately recognized this is Madiba. And one little boy quipped when they showed him a picture of Archbishop Desmond Tutu in his pink dress, oh, it's the Pink Panther. So that's the person he was, the Pink Panther. He never took himself too seriously, but he always took the situation in the world and in his country very seriously. We are outside his house. We haven't been here for a long time. Actually, the roads around the house are blocked off. We had to walk some distance to get to the house. We are permission to stand quite close to the house. There's Benny Gould, a long-time associate of the Archbishop, and Malia Tutu. As of this moment, there isn't much visitors. We saw a couple coming in a little bit earlier to pay their respects and condolences. And but other than that, it's been quiet. As you said, as we saw with former President F.W. de Klerk, it was quiet outside the house. I think COVID-19 plays a big role, and you must remember that the Arch himself was 90 years old. His wife Malia is also elderly, so I think people would respect that, not necessarily to come to the house and cause any possible infection or danger for them. I think people are respecting the COVID-19 protocols, but I also do think because he was such a larger-than-life figure that the public is also expecting that something big will take place in the coming days. And that's exactly the message we got from family spokespeople earlier today, saying that there are events planned to celebrate the life of Archbishop Emeritus Tutu. Although it is a very, very sad day today, they want his life to be celebrated because above all, he loved people, he loved his country, and he loved life. And that's why he needs to be celebrated. We heard from Dr. Mampela Rampele earlier saying that the legacy that he leaves behind is one of giving and one of looking after each one other and one of Ubuntu. And he said that is the greatest gift we as South Africans can give to the Archbishop in thanking him for his wonderful life, is to carry on the job that he has done all his life. As of now, we don't have any clarity yet as to what the plans are for the rest of the week. This will unfold in the next few days or so. We know that the city of Cape Town is working together with the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation. We also know that the Anglican Church is involved. Archbishop Thabo Makgoba told us so earlier. So in conjunction with the various entities, including national government, various programs will be rolled out and more information will become available as to what will happen in the next coming week.
You know, I'm seeing some people, just as the camera was panning just opposite you, and I'm assuming these are probably neighbors of his and people that are able to get a little bit closer due to the fact that they live quite close. And I wonder if you've, been able to have any conversations with, maybe his neighbors or people that are there and perhaps would have been able to interact with him quite closely. I mean, from what we're hearing, it's that, people are quite sad in the city of Cape Town, and, we're hearing that he was very much loved in Cape Town. So no doubt those who would have been, living closer to him would have quite a bit to say about the Arch. What are you hearing?
Definitely, people are very, very sad. I myself, I must say, one is supposed to be objective, but when I got the message this morning, I was sad. And living in Cape Town and having such free access to this great man was a wonderful thing. So certainly people are sad about his passing. He was, however, at the very, very wonderful old age of 90 years. He had several bouts of cancer that he had been battling, very outspoken about that, asking men to do what they need to do to keep healthy for themselves and their families. But we haven't had a chance to speak to anyone yet who has paid a visit. I think at this stage, those people who are coming, as you said, Flo, they're probably neighbors and very close family that are making turns by the house. The police presence is here, obviously trying to protect the privacy of the family at this stage. But the family does understand that he was a public figure and he belonged to South Africa and the world. Yeah. And that is why there will be celebrations throughout this week, as we will find out a little bit later or in the course of the next few days as to what those celebrations will be. But as I said, we struggled to get in. We had to walk in. We couldn't drive in. So we only arrived a little while ago. And of course, we were at that press conference a little bit earlier at the Civic Centre, where numerous public figures and those close to the family also spoke, speaking about his greatness and the legacy that he leaves behind. But we will certainly stay around and hopefully we'll get to speak to some people that will come to pay their respects. But as of now, there isn't large crowds of people. We also don't see flowers anywhere, and there is a strong police presence, and it is cordoned off for quite some way from where we are standing now. So I think as the message still filters through, because people are enjoying a day at the beach, they couldn't do that last year. I think by tonight, everybody would have heard the news that the Archbishop has passed away. And perhaps in the coming days, we will see more activity at the house.
All right, Mariska, let's leave it there.